Welcome from my side to another globalTA webinar. For those of you who are new, we are a global group of TA practitioners, let's say, and we meet occasionally, now quite regularly, for these webinars. We also have a LinkedIn group. Let me see, I'll put that in the chat in a second. So you can join that group where we announce also these webinars, but different events or questions that we might have. So you're invited to join that. We also have a YouTube channel where we have past webinars that have taken place. So you're welcome to look at that as well. And to get us started, we usually have a little bit of a question for the chat. So if you like, you can tell us who you are, where you are, maybe what time of day it is, where you're currently located. And since we're talking about engagement with policymakers today, maybe if you have a brief impression or an anecdote on a past encounter with a policymaker, and you'd like to share that or with other stakeholders, an encounter with other stakeholders, please feel free to do so. There's still lots of people coming in, so that's nice. And today I'm really happy that we have Tome Sandevski with us. I've known Tome for a bit now, and we work together quite regularly. And he is part of the ENGAGEgreen project, which is a European project. I'm sure he'll talk more detail about this. But it's basically a project that tries to develop a toolkit with quite concrete suggestions or tools to engage with policymakers. Tome is from the Goethe University in Frankfurt, where he also coordinates a policy dialogue project of the Rhine-Main universities. And this is a really impressive exchange fellowship program that's been going on for years, where policymakers or people from ministries, for example, meet with scientists, with researchers. I'll also post the link in the chat in a second. And he's very active in this area, and he engages with mid-level, but also senior policymakers, policy professionals, from the regional to the national level in Germany, but also from the European level and also in international settings. So I'm very excited that Tome is here today to present us with some useful tools and formats. And I'm told it will be a bit interactive, just to warn you. So Tome, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Julia. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm going to share my screen. So can you see the presentation?
Yep, we can see it.
All right. Okay, great. So I'm going to introduce the ENGAGEgreen Policy Engagement Toolkit. As Julia already mentioned, it is the result of an Erasmus Plus, which is an EU project, and which comprises 8 universities from 5 countries. And it's about policy engagement. And so what is policy engagement? So we define policy engagement as the many ways researchers and policymakers connect and explore common interests at various stages in their respective research and policymaking processes. So it's a deliberately open definition. So it's not the same as science advice or political consulting. We are very open in this regard. And since I'm always happy to learn more about the work of the participants who are attending such seminars, I would like to ask you, which challenges do researchers face regarding policy engagement? Or maybe if you have made some experience, feel free to activate your microphone and share some personal observations. And no need to be shy. So there are no right or wrong.
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to say one challenge is timing.
Timing,
but please, go on. Everyone else is welcome to join in.
Yeah.
Another challenge is getting into contact with the right people, actually.
Yeah.
Another challenge that I face sometimes is the wish of policymakers to institutionalize things that are not so well institutionalized. So, for example, I was at a conference with policymakers about public participation in science some years ago. I think it was in 2016, and they all spoke about institutionalizing stuff like citizen science. And I was thinking, no, because if you institutionalize this, you are making boundaries that keep some activities out and give it like a format as institutionalized science. So this was quite interesting, this drive to institutionalize things.
Institutionalization in terms of creating a new institution, or
Institutionalization in the sense of giving it fixed structures, funding
right, okay.
schemes, etc.
Okay. Interesting aspect. Never thought of that one. Yeah, thank you. Other challenges you see regarding the dialogue between researchers or the engagement between researchers and
I think a big barrier is that a lot of researchers don't know how the policy process, the political process actually works.
Yes. And yeah. Yes, please.
Go ahead, Tome.
No, Zira, please. Yeah.
For me, sometimes it's hard to find the right topics, like find topics which are on the agenda of the politicians, or which could fit in the agenda of the politicians, but have the scientific expertise in-house as well. So sometimes if I look on the agenda, they have topics where I feel like, okay, nobody in my institute, in my broader area actually could say something to that. And the topics we have don't really fit on the agenda.
Yeah, the matching between expertise and policy needs. Thank you. Other challenges you can think of? By the way, are most of you based at universities? Yes, okay. So
Ratenau Institute isn't based at the university.
you're an independent research institute, or
Yeah. And I think we discussed one yesterday with the institute, which was cherry picking. Because we also like produce information for political parties. Actually, the whole parliament is our focus. So what you see is that people pick certain parts of your research, but not the whole picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So thank you very much for your feedback. And so I already anticipated some of the answers, and usually what many participants say from a researcher's perspective is the lack of time. So researchers are quite busy. Funding, or the lack of funding, is a challenge. So is the lack of understanding of policymakers. What are the needs of policymakers, or how does the policymaking process actually works? Also, a very practical issue. That policy engagement is usually not rewarded when it comes to academic careers. Also, the possible politicization, or Marlene just mentioned the issue of cherry picking, which can be an issue. And very practical challenges also, that many researchers are not familiar with the wide range of possible formats they can apply to connect with policymakers. And more and more handbooks and websites are being published, which is great. But I also see a bias, because English-speaking countries are far ahead of non-English-speaking countries, and we have institutional structures like CAPE or the UPenn network in the United Kingdom, or similar organizations in the United States. And of course, when you Google or when you use AI, you're likely to find you're very likely to find examples from English-speaking countries, which is not bad. But when we started our project, or when we prepared our project, we realized that there might be also very interesting policy engagement formats in other countries, which are flying under the radar, because the countries are non-English speaking ones. So speaking of formats, when you think about policy engagement, or the ways of how researchers can engage with policymakers, what formats do come to your mind immediately? What are your first thoughts? Julia, please.
Breakfasts or dinners? Isn't there always like parliamentary breakfast or parliamentary lunch? I don't think there are any dinners, but usually a kind of in-person meeting with food.
Yes, there are also dinners, and there are also parliamentary lunch breaks. So we have all the food chain is represented in policy engagement. Yes, so in-person events, parliamentary events are very popular. Of course, they're popular in capitals because parliaments are there. Any other formats you can think of?
An assignment.
An assignment?
Yes.
Researcher working for a ministry or the other way around?
Yes,
or...
for example.
Assignments,
or for
yes.
the parliament.
Yeah. Policy briefs and elevators.
Policy briefs at elevators, all right?
Yeah.
So they're being read in elevators, or
No, because this is also some kind of point of contact that some of us may have had with like policymakers, where they also always want some kind of an elevator pitch or something like this. But if for me, it's interesting here to see also with this parliamentary breakfast and stuff that Julia just mentioned, that actually I don't know if the actors here see always eye to eye, because it's always like it's this parliamentary breakfast. The scientists present something, and so the roles. So basically, doesn't get mixed up that we also get irritated by the policymakers, and they have some epistemic stakes, not only political. So it would be nice to have a format that mixes the things or shuffles the things a little bit more around.
Yeah, so not only presentation style formats, but more interactive one, if I understand you correctly.
Co-productive, for example.
Co-productive. All right, okay. Yeah. And any other formats you can think of when thinking about policy engagement? Not. Let's see what we were thinking about. I mean, in general, you can group policy engagement formats into two broad categories. You have written formats and dialogue-oriented one. And written one can comprise very short texts like policy briefs, but or a fact sheet, social media posts, but also lengthier ones like elaborated policy reports like the colleagues from the TAP are producing, or consultations, so which are usually questionnaires you can researchers can complete, and dialogue-oriented formats comprise formats like expert meetings, conversations, which are two-way. They go in two ways, so it's more kind of co-creation, but also hackathons involving students. And forgot to mention this. It's interesting. Has anyone ever included students in policy engagement activities? Because when we started compiling our policy engagement toolkit, we learned from examples from our colleagues at Lyon University in France and Palacký University in the Czech Republic, and they organized hackathons with students. It was very interesting because in the hackathons, the students addressed policy challenges, and they came up with policy solutions for policymakers from the local or regional government. And that's a very interesting approach, because students are by far the largest group at universities. But when it comes to policy engagement, they are usually underrepresented. And I just learned from a case in the UK where there were also hackathons organized. So it's also possible to include or involve students in policy engagement activities. Other very popular dialogue-oriented format are parliamentary hearings, which are usually very short. You have typical workshops at policymaking institutions or research institutions, panel discussions, parliamentary events. So there's a wide range of possible formats. And the question researchers often ask are, isn't policy engagement too time-consuming? How am I supposed to do that in addition to my research, to my teaching obligations, to my administrative duties? And we came up with this rough overview, and there are some formats you can actually conduct in a couple of hours. They are not that difficult to create, like or write, like posts on social media or policy briefs. They should usually only take a couple of hours to write. Of course, if you focus on lengthy articles or lengthy written outcomes like policy reports or commissioned research, you can spend weeks or months on them. Similar, there are some interactive formats which are very time friendly for researchers. Others require more time, and we would like to stress that researchers should consider that not all types of policy engagement are necessarily time consuming. So why producing this policy engagement toolkit? So as mentioned, we saw that there was no structured overview on formats which exist across the globe, especially in non-English speaking countries. So this is an issue we wanted to address. Also, we wanted to provide a practical guidance for busy researchers. So we know that researchers do not have much time. They also face funding limitations, recognition barriers, etc. So we are writing the articles for the policy engagement toolkit in such a way that the researchers will always see which is the time or what type of resources do they have to invest in the respective format regarding time and maybe also funding. Also, we understood that policy engagement, it's not only about researchers, it's actually also about the people working at universities, like research managers or knowledge exchange officers, which we call support structures in general, who can make the life of researchers much easier if they exist at universities. So this is also one target group of the policy engagement toolkit. And of course, we also stress that policy engagement is not a one-way process. Researchers can also derive benefit for their own research by interacting with policymakers. For example, they can learn about new ideas, new perspectives. They can get access to data, or they can also get access to possible interview partners. So there are many ways how researchers can benefit from engaging with policymakers. And how is the toolkit going to be structured? I would like to show you the website, but we are currently relaunching it, so it's a bit messy at this point. But there are going to be sections on various types of formats, let's say written formats, and there's going to be a section on, let's say, a policy brief. And then we are going to introduce the format, let's say how to write a policy brief. And then we are going to add concrete examples, how various institutions produce policy briefs, how they disseminate them, how they plan them, how they lay out them, etc. So it's going to be very practice oriented. We're going to include many real world examples. And we would be happy for the readers to replicate or try out the formats which are described. So the toolkit is meant for researchers to use it for their own research projects, but also for funding proposals, because when it comes to EU Horizon funding or funding from ministries, and depending on your country where you're located, the issue of impact is becoming more and more important in funding applications, and we would like to offer many how-to guides and examples potential applicants can use for their applications. Also, it's going to be published in 6 languages, and each language will also feature articles on issues which are specific to the respective national context. And it's a collection of various how-to guides and examples, but it's not a recipe book. So we do not say that there is a single correct approach, but we want to share a wide range of formats and also practitioners' perspectives. And there are also going to be many cases where the authors like me are also going to explain why some formats, why they did not work, or why they did not work in the way they were expected to work, and how possible structural issues can be fixed. So please visit our website. If you click on the contact button, you will also see a section for the newsletter. You can subscribe to it. And the new website is going to be online in 2 or 3 weeks at the latest. And also we are going to include flowcharts, so step-by-step guides on how to conduct possible formats. This is a flowchart of a dialogue scheme we conducted in the Frankfurt Rhine-Main area. Actually, I'm going to give this presentation at 3 p.m. This afternoon. If you want to join, you're more than welcome to do so. I will share the link in the chat, and we will describe each step, how to conduct a format, just for the readers to make it more understandable how the format worked and how it can be replicated, or how they can be inspired to conduct the same or similar formats. And yes, so this is the toolkit is a product of the ENGAGEgreen project, comprising 8 universities. However, we are more than happy for external authors also to submit brief articles. They're usually between 1.5 and 3 pages, so it's not that much. And so if you have conducted policy engagement formats in the past, feel free to submit a brief article. It's going to be a very straightforward process, and we're especially welcoming or inviting authors from non-English speaking countries to share their experience. And we learned that there are great examples of policy engagement formats in France, in Spain, in the Czech Republic, Italy, but they are all flying under the radar, and we would like to change that. Yes, so this was my presentation. So I'm going to share the link, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.